Hi guys, it's April, and I have a book review for you. It's been a very long time in coming, but I finally am able to do a review on book 3 of the Unblemished series by Sara, and that is Unbreakable. Now, I will do this book review the same way I do all of my other book reviews. I will have the non-spoiler section up front, followed by the spoiled-filled thoughts after that, and I will let you know when that happens. So, Unbreakable by Sara. Since this is book 3 of a series, there probably will be spoilers for the first 2 books. I won't judge you for watching this if you haven't read those, but I was just gonna let you know. That's another disclaimer I feel like I need to do. I don't know why. But this is book 3, and in this book we continue to follow Eliana's journey as she's holding the Verity and she's dealing with the void. You get to see the clash of light versus dark and a lot of pop culture references littered in between. Now, I will admit that it has been a while since I've read the first 2 books. We ended on a place in which Eliana no longer remembers Kai in a way that she probably should. Everyone's trying to find a way to get rid of the void, and such, this journey begins. Now, this book jumps between different perspectives of the characters. You get to see inside Eliana's mind, you get to see inside of Kai's mind, you get to see inside of Josh's mind. You just get to see a lot of different people. In this case, that jump between perspectives became a little jarring, mainly because all of the voices started to feel very, very similar. And I mostly just wanted to get the story moving, but we had a lot of internal dialogue more than actual action happening. Now, I don't remember how I feel about all of the references that are always popping up within this book with the last couple of books, but here it felt like there was a lot. And maybe time has given me some perspective on that, but I felt like it was a little more overdone in this book, and I didn't appreciate them nearly as much as I probably did in the first 2 books. Like I said, it just felt like this book was dragging on more than it should have, especially given what actually happened within the book and how it pretty much all just happened within the last quarter of the book. It still had Sara's very whimsical, magical style. It still had a lot of that ever after feel. It had a lot of those references that I did enjoy, but for this final book, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I did, say, the first book and a little bit of the second book. Part of that might have been because I felt like it was just too cleanly all wrapped up. The characters didn't necessarily develop at all very much. I mean, they did, but they didn't. And in the beginning, I was very focused on Eliana's journey, but in this book, it seemed to shift to a completely different character. Here you got more of Ebony, and here you got to feel more of Ebony's story, and it started to feel like it was more of what Ebony was than what Eliana was, which is fine, but that sudden shift from the first 2 books being Eliana and this last book being all about Ebony, I don't know how I feel about that. Overall, I really did like the whole series as a whole. I liked seeing all of those fairy tale references and getting to know the characters and learning Sara's writing style, and it was a very whimsical read, so I did like it for that. And this is the part in which I now go into a lot of my spoiled filled thoughts. There's probably not going to be a lot of them, but it is something that I'm going to do now. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the conclusion of this series, leave now and come back and we will talk. So the biggest thing that I had throughout this book and this series and everything as a whole is the fact that the task was to get rid of the void. And I got a lot of the Christian references going on here, but part of me kept on feeling as all of this was going on, it came to my brain that you can't have the Verity without the void. It doesn't make sense to necessarily completely get rid of the void. So I struggled with the concept of, oh, we're just going to completely disown the void, we're going to get rid of it completely, we're going to shut that completely down, and then the Verity is going to be a thing. But when in reality, there's this balance between the void and the Verity, and that is how everything kind of runs. So I struggled a little bit with that, especially with the conclusion on how we got rid of the void, when all of a sudden it all came down to loving her mother and just kind of accepting everything that happened. She never really... I know it was building throughout the story that she was coming to some of these conclusions. I just felt it was really sudden and really awkward. Maybe that was just me. And I know it was to save the world, to love Mom, and close everything down, but I don't know. I just don't. And then the love triangle in this book. Love triangles are probably one of those things that I dislike the most. And I knew from the very beginning how it was all going to end. And that was going to be with a death. Because obviously we can't let them both live loving her at the same time. The fact that there are two people loving her at the same time is just meh. And then just to decide that both of them love her is because of the connection through Kai. Yeah. So overall, I'm a little, maybe if I give it some time to digest, I will be more okay. And maybe if I read all of these books right in a row, I won't feel as weird about how this book went compared to the other two books. But those are just my thoughts. Tell me down below if you have read the series and how you feel about it. And I heard your beautiful faces. Bye.